You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Now your hosts, Cody Pennick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the #1 pop and geek culture show in all of Ecuador. I'm Cody.
We're number 1?
Oh no, we're number 7 actually, sorry. I got excited and I said 1. It's actually 7.
It's actually 7. Hey, factual. Yeah.
I think we should keep that. Let's go. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Josh.
Oh, we have a great show for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a bunch of news to go over, but first let's talk about some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
Waluigi! #1! It's a little sad.
Yeah, a little sad.
There's a little tinge of sadness in his voice.
But it's Waluigi, so there's going to be a little tinge of sadness.
Yeah. That's what a brilliant voice actor Charles Martinet is.
The pathos he brings to the wah.
He is all of the Marios.
All right, so what have you guys been doing the last couple of weeks? Because we took a week off last week.
Did you guys watch Loki yet?
No.
I'm watching it this weekend.
Okay. We'll save that for next week then.
Okay, non-spoiler talk.
Non-spoiler, it's very, very good.
It's very good? Okay, good.
It's more of the weird, fun stuff like WandaVision that I like.
So it's more on the WandaVision side than the Falcon and Winter Soldier side.
Yes.
Okay, cool. How is Owen Wilson as Agent Mobius M. Mobius?
Good. He's Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Kind of the true detective vibes, but instead of regular detective, it's time detective.
Okay, nice. You know, I think it's kind of funny that he is on a Marvel superhero show and his brother is on a DC superhero show because he's Stripe in the Stargirl show on CW.
True. It's going to be a weird Thanksgiving over there.
Wow.
Wow.
People actually watch my show. Wow.
Yeah. I watched the first episode of Stargirl and I liked it a lot.
Stargirl's really good. It's legitimately good. I liked it a lot as well.
I need to go back and watch more of it.
I fell off after episode 4, I think. But yeah, it's really good. Well, cool. I'm glad Loki is good. So I rewatched The Mystery Men from
a classic. A 90s classic.
Yeah. Jordan had never watched it. So
it's been a long time since I watched it.
Yeah, same.
It is extremely late 90s, early 2000s.
I mean, it was back when, Ben Stiller and Jean Garofalo were relevant.
Well, yeah. But I forgot the amount of camp and cameos and all sorts of just kind of weird folks that just kind of pop up throughout it. Eddie Izzard is one of the major antagonists in the movie.
Yeah.
And where they do the scene with all of the different gangs that Casanova Frankenstein bring in. CeeLo Green is part of the Not So Goody mob. And the frat boys, the leader of the frat boys is Michael Bay. The director, Michael Bay. He's the one that asked if he could bring the brewskis. Yeah, and
all I remember is really wanting the bowler's bowling ball.
Oh, that was a cool.
It's so rad.
Yeah,
really
I wanted
cool.
that too. Like it's like I'm not even that big into bowling, and I'm like, that'd be cool to have.
Yeah.
If Mystery Men had come out, 20 years later, it would have been a huge smashing success.
It really would have. Yeah, it would have garnered multiple sequels and all sorts of other stuff. Did you know Dane Cook was in that?
No.
Yeah, he's the waffler. He's the guy that burns himself with the waffle iron. And then, of course, friend of the show, Doug Jones. Yeah.
The miner.
Oh, you mean the shoveler?
Oh, the shoveler. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it has like a lot of really good. It's weird. It is very, very late 90s, early 2000s. It'll have a couple of really, really good like puns or really good jokes. And then the next shot is a fart joke or here comes a skunk and he's attracted to the spleen because the fart smell.
It's just the fact that like the one of the main jokes of the whole movie was the fact that Ben Stiller's character, even though he says he has powers, no one believes him because his powers just being really angry.
His powers are just getting real mad.
He's Mr. Furious.
Yeah.
And then he finally taps into it at the end.
Yeah.
I remember really liking it when I saw it as a kid.
Super good.
Like that was like right up there with like my like offbeat weird superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like Meteor Man and Blank Man.
Oh man, Meteor Man was so good.
Especially that end fight with the bookmobile.
Oh yeah, where they're absorbing book knowledge for 60 seconds and they accidentally absorb the runway model.
Yeah, the catwalk.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then,
oh man.
I have not seen this movie.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah,
If
Meteor
you can
Man
imagine
is
that.
fantastic. It's super good.
I mean, I understand you're not seeing this one because it's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird pool.
Which means, like, I probably should have seen it then. That's usually
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah, but yeah, Meteor Man. Oh, so good. Frank Gorshin is in it, the original Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, excellent.
We should talk about Spookies real quick.
Oh, let's talk about
Because
Spookies.
I watched Spookies a couple days ago
Let's talk about them Spoopies.
when it was on Joe Bob's Last Drive-In show.
Yeah.
And it is an amazing and great film that is also not good.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a bad movie that
It's
somehow...
a great bad movie.
That somehow is great in spite of how bad and incompetent it is.
Yeah. Well, you know the backstory of that. They made a movie. So they looked at the work print and went, "Wow, this doesn't work. What do we got? Let's film a bunch of extra scenes."
Well, yeah, it's two different directors.
Yeah.
Two guys started to make the movie at first. Then the financier didn't like it, so he brought in a different director that filmed a bunch of other stuff, and then they just kind of Frankensteined the whole thing into a movie.
And you could,
So it's Justice League?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. And you can definitely see where the two movies are.
Yeah, there's whole characters that never interact.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a character that's a cat man with a hook for a hand, and he never interacts with the main cast, but is always like looking at him through a window.
He's always closing the doors.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing with Dr. Acula, that was all added later, and the kid with the birthday party that was added later.
There's a whole part with a kid in a birthday party at the beginning that has no bearing on the rest of the plot whatsoever.
No, it's very clear. The original movie was a bunch of rowdy teens, 20-something teens.
One of them looks to be about 40.
Yeah. Go to an abandoned house, and then monsters happen in the rooms. That was Spookies.
Yeah, they like use a Ouija board and it
ghosts come.
possesses one of the kids, and then ghosts and monsters show up.
Yeah.
A Luigi board?
No, a Waluigi board.
A Waluigi. Waluigi. But the monsters are amazing. They're all great. They're all practical effects and
they're
amazing.
super good.
There's a bunch of like Fiji mermaid lizard men that come out, and they have a very like Freddy Freaker energy.
Yep. And what about the Muckmen?
Oh yeah. I'm bearing the lead. The funniest part, the hands down funniest part of the movie. They get attacked by mudmen in the basement, who inexplicably fart constantly.
I gotta
It
think.
sounds like the bog of eternal stench.
A little
it's the
bit.
same- yeah.
I have to think it was like the sound designer going, well, we need a squishing sound. What sounds like a squish?
A wet fart.
No, actually, Joe Bob explained this on the
really?
Last Drive-In
Okay.
show.
Yeah.
It was the financer guy thought it was cool to put fart noises in it.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you
Because
go.
he kind of had like a gross sense of humor,
Weird.
and that's why the Muckmen fart. And also why the movie is named Spookies. That was also his idea.
Oh, so weird. So weird. What do you think of the Spider Woman?
Oh, the Spider Woman was very cool. It's like 3 different practical effect monsters morphing into one big Spider Woman. It was very cool.
It was, yeah.
If you like practical effects and cool monster designs, this movie actually is pretty good at it. Like, there's good stuff in it.
It's terrible at everything else, but it's pretty good at the practical
And there's
effects.
a lot of zombies at the end.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the third act of Cabin in the Woods.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, it's a more digital effects in Cabin in the Woods, but yeah, kind of similar a little bit.
There's an impressively large amount of zombies at the end.
Yeah. Yep. What about that exploding Grim Reaper?
That's a good scene too. They're being chased by a very impressive like Grim Reaper puppet on the roof of the house, and the one guy throws him off the roof. The Grim Reaper hits the ground and just explodes.
Grim Reapers are historically filled with dynamite.
Yeah.
See, when you said exploded, I thought you maybe like just hit the ground and like just turned to like dust and all.
Oh no,
whatever.
No,
No, it's a legitimate like dynamite explosion.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I would 100% recommend that. It's also terrible.
Yeah. One of my favorite shots in the movie. It's a real quick shot, but they're trying to bust out of the room that is being held shut by the Wolfman, and the 40-year-old guy just like does like a headfirst jump, like swan dive through the door. Like cartoon style. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Also, the next week on Last Drive-In, they did straight-to-video horror movies.
Was it Things?
One of them is Things. The other one was Sledgehammer. They are both unwatchably bad.
Things is an experience. I've watched Things.
You watched all of... I watched about the first 10 minutes.
See, I didn't watch it with Joe Bob, though. I've just seen Things, and it is... Yeah, nigh unwatchable, but it's an experience that you have to sit through once in your life. If you enjoy bad movies, Things, I mean, it's aliens in a Canadian countryside, kinda, but more importantly, it's just a bunch of weird redneck Canadians sitting in a cabin drinking beer and mumbling to each other.
So it's
and it's shot on VHS, so it's like
so
the
it looks
lowest
like garbage.
It looks like consumer grade mid 80s, like the big camcorder. Yeah.
The opening credits to Sledgehammer looked like they were done in camera.
Oh, more than likely, yeah. And you know what? Those movies actually give me a lot of hope, because I look at those movies and go, oh, they got distribution.
Yeah, they did a movie. These guys did a movie.
These guys did it.
Yeah.
Why can't we?
Yeah. Sledgehammer, the best part of it is all of its establishing shots are way too long.
Oh, really?
They're a full, like, 10-second shots of a house just sitting there. And it's just funny how long it takes for them to go by.
Oh.
And it turns out it was just the director padding out the length of the movie.
Of course, yeah, of course. I'm surprised, shot on VHS stuff, I'm surprised they didn't do the movie Feeders, which is another shot on VHS movie with aliens shot in rural Wisconsin or Canada, filmed by a couple of guys, the Polonia brothers. They're twins. And the movie had only one interesting scene in the entire thing. Everything else, it looked like Napoleon Dynamite. The rest of it, with a little alien gray puppet moving around. But there's one shot where the main character is one of the brothers, and he looks out the window, and the other brother is there, and they start fighting. And that's kind of a cool thing, because hey, if you have someone that looks exactly like you, might as well put this into your movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Feeders, and then it's Christmas themed sequel, Feeders 2. Yeah. Oh no, shot on VHS stuff, man. It's wild.
Like, Blockbuster isn't gonna buy this movie if it isn't at least an hour and a half.
It's got to be 80 minutes. 80 minutes and then credits. Yeah. There's actually a term coined for that. The Red Letter Media guys, they call it shoot the rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a movie. Yeah, there was a movie that they watched a long time ago where, to pad out the 50-minute movie, a guy just went to a rodeo and shot a bunch of B-roll of an actual rodeo that was in town. And it got him 8 minutes.
You might as well shoot the rodeo.
Hey, that's free. It's no free real
setup.
estate.
It's no setup. You don't have to pay anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can we fit audio from like other stuff into our show to pad it out?
Isn't that what the soundboard's for?
We We just like throw in old episodes of like The Shadow in the middle.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. I thought I was going to play a clip there. I didn't. I decided not to.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I took a drink expecting this.
Yeah, you mean this?
You know, they say all men are created equal, but I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal.
We're back to the Steiner math.
We got to get some Steiner math in there. That's right. That's right.
Jackpot.
You about make Cody spit out his drink.
That's the goal. Yep.
So I made it through the stupid, beautiful dream circus arc of Sailor Moon
Oh, yes.
with the Pegasus.
Oh, with that bad horse.
Is that the one that the new movie is based on? That
Yes.
came out on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they actually combined the last two arcs because we're on the last arc of classic Sailor Moon. Mm-hmm. And Hulu doesn't have it dubbed.
Oh, no.
Because that one was dubbed like way later. It wasn't part of the original dubbing
They don't
run.
even have it subtitled.
I can believe it.
Like, you have to turn on the actual subtitles on Hulu to be able to, like, understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all it really is a continuation of the previous arc because it's the stupid Dark Queen coming back.
It's not that Dark Queen. It's another Dark Queen
No,
from
it's
space.
it's Queen Helenia. It's the same one.
Queen Galaxia.
Sailor Moon fight. Sailor Moon fight.
Pretty much.
This is the one with the three lights, right?
I don't know.
I've never got this far in Sailor Moon.
Okay. Sailor Stars? Is that where you're at?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's the three sailor scouts from space that describes themselves as dudes.
I never got
as a boy band.
I never got this far in Sailor Moon, and I used to have my mom tape it for me on TV while I was at golf practice in junior high.
Nice.
Golf practice.
Yes.
I only know about a lot of this stuff
'Cause you
because
listen to that podcast.
I listen to a podcast about it. But yeah. So, okay, once you're done with Sailor Moon, are you going to move on to the live action, the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon?
I don't know. I think we might watch Crystal.
Okay. It's kind of started over.
Yeah.
Go again. Okay.
Crystal is rough at first, but gets better as it goes. Because the animation,
That's what I've heard.
The
Yeah.
animation leaves a little to be desired at first.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a lot of like the wild takes that you would get in the original series, but they add them in as time goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just glad to be less Chibi Moon. She's
only for so long, though.
She is like literally the worst character. I
Yeah.
hate her. I
Well-
hate her guts so much.
Well, if you're on Sailor Stars, you're going to get the next best thing, Chibi Chibi. An even smaller Chibi Moon.
Wait, so she's like Chibi
like
Moon,
a baby.
like Chibi Moon from like the past?
No, it's another.
Or the future?
It's just another one, and she's even smaller, and she only says the word Chibi. She's a Pokemon, kinda.
Oh,
She can only say her name.
She's even smaller and only says small.
Yep, that's it.
I hate this crap. I was so tired of her like constantly coming back. Like it's like she goes back home to the future to her parents. Also, just everything about her is just weird.
Chibi Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all uncomfortable.
Because she's all like, oh, she's in love with Mamoru, and it's like, but he's your dad in the future, and you're like,
But she doesn't know that.
no,
And
she
also-
does.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's
that
weird.
It's that Freudian thing where
It is.
but it doesn't make it comfortable.
No, and then,
Also, her first appearance, she had a real gun.
Yep. She straight up comes packing heat against Sailor Moon.
Yep.
It's like, where'd she get that gun?
The future.
I mean, I
It's a
guess
moon gun from the future.
I guess they have guns in Japan in the future.
They have very lax concealed carry laws
On the moon.
on the moon in the future.
No, they're not on the moon. They're in Japan. They're still in Japan. Crystal Tokyo.
Neo Crystal Tokyo.
Which is weird, like the fact that all happens and then, Usagi becomes the queen of whatever in the future. It's like, what happened to the government?
What happens on the moon stays on the moon. It's Martian law.
My friend Marcus sent me this picture yesterday of Sailor Moon standing with the Mooninites.
Yeah, that's about right.
And they're just like giving her they're giving her guff about being the real representatives of the moon. And then
Now bend over and we will spank you with moon rocks.
I hope you can see this because I'm doing this as hard as I can. Bloop, 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 bloop. Stupid Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh,
God, what else?
Still funny.
What
It
else?
is.
I've watched some of it
Yeah.
on HBO Max.
it holds up, kind of.
It's still
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
We watched Ted. I haven't watched Ted in a long time.
Oh, Ted's really good.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I mean, it's.
I've never watched Ted 2.
No, I haven't
No.
either.
I have
But
no
it's like-
interest. I
No.
was pretty much done with Ted after the first one. It said all it needed to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Seth MacFarlane's brand of humor.
Yes.
It's references to pop culture and then dirty jokes.
they burnt all the gas in that tank on the first film.
And that's fine. Sometimes you don't need a sequel.
Ghostbusters.
Hey, Ghostbusters 2 is all right. It's all right.
Beetlejuice.
You just want me to talk about Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Which we don't need.
We don't need it.
We don't need it.
And that's why we don't have it.
Yeah.
I just hate the fact of making sequels to movies that are decades old. I think it's stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather get a sequel than a reboot of most things, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bill and Ted's Face the Music was much better as it was a continuation, but could also be used as a launching point for future films featuring their daughters. And I think that is kind of a good kind of halfway point between the two.
Yeah.
I mean, but that one was also a passion project, though. That wasn't that wasn't like a nostalgia,
True.
money grab.
It certainly wasn't. Movie's great, made no money.
It would have did so well if it wasn't these unprecedented times that we're in.
The troubles,
Yeah.
It would have made it would have done really well.
The dark times.
Yeah.
But I prefer a thoughtful sequel that, applies time to the concept that was already there than I would just a thoughtless remake.
A remake, repackaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm curious to see what they do with Ghostbusters Afterlife, because it looks as though it is continuation of sorts and not like a full-blown reboot or anything. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what happens with it.
Yeah, so far they've never really, other than that weird little trailer with Ryan Reynolds.
It's not Ryan Reynolds.
It's not-
It's,
it's
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd,
yeah.
that's right. The other one.
The Stranger Things well, just one.
One of
but
the children.
It feels like they might as well all be there.
Kinda.
Well,
yeah.
are you saying that because of the fact that the Stranger Things kids wore Ghostbusters costumes?
Yeah, you know what? I think the two things are kind of polluted in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is that new trailer with Paul Rudd. He's in a supermarket.
That's the one I'm talking about. Like they've released virtually nothing. A weird teaser, and then the thing with the Stay Puft little marshmallow guys.
with tiny baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Men.
Which I don't care for that.
I don't care for that. That's capitalizing on Baby Grogu,
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Sonic.
Yeah, and tiny baby Sonic. Horrible
Everything-
baby Sonic.
Everything needs a baby version now because it's Muppet Babies again.
I was going to say it's Muppet Babies all the way down.
Yeah.
Muppet Babies, Baby Looney Tunes.
Oh,
Even though Tiny Toons felt like Baby Looney Tunes, but better.
Well, Tiny Toons was legitimately good.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I like Tiny Toons. I love Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons felt like a
Tiny
logical progression.
Kinda,
Tiny Toons is good in spite of its premise not being very good.
Yes. It's good in that it is proto Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see where a lot of the things that they eventually kind of build on and kind of expand out in Animaniacs has its roots with Buster and Babs Bunny. Absolutely.
I mean, the premise of Tiny Toons is like a marketing man's
oh yeah.
like fantasy,
Yeah.
and it somehow worked.
Yeah.
Man, those Batman ads that are basically in Looney Tunes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm just thinking back to the commercials of the Warner Brothers stores. Rip.
Oh jeez, yes. The one that they had on the VHS before
Yeah.
Batman, where
Yeah.
Bugs and Daffy come out and say, "Hey, come and order your Warner Brothers store catalog today. Get a mug
with the Batman credit card.
with the Batman credit card." Yeah. Oh, I've done one more thing. One other movie.
One more thing.
One more thing. It's hardly worth talking about. I watched an old movie. I've been looking for this forever. It is called 7 S's. That's the name of it. Was very difficult to find.
It's about snakes.
It's about a man who
Becomes a snake?
is surgically turned into a snake by a mad scientist. It sounds an awful lot like a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah, that's Tusk, but a snake.
Yeah. It was made in the 70s, and I'm almost positive Kevin Smith had to have known at least something about it, because it is almost beat for... If you take out the podcaster angle of it and add in, well, the guy was in love with the mad scientist's daughter, it's almost beat for beat the same thing, only it's a snake instead of
A walrus.
I
walrus.
think getting turned into a snake is much scarier.
Oh, it is. And it was all practical effects. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Walrus is weird. Snake is scary. That's like bye-bye arms and
And legs.
legs are fused together, I would assume.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't like full-blown surgical. It was a serum that was slowly mutating him.
It wasn't
But-
like human centipede weird body horror surgery.
No, it wasn't that. No, this was cheesy, bad sci-fi movie.
Mutagen.
Horror,
Yeah.
sci-fi horror movie from the
The Fly.
70s. Yeah, the original The Fly, not like the Cronenberg Fly.
The body horror.
Yeah.
Tusk did have a lot of good body horror.
There was a
stuff
bit
in
of
it.
that. And you could see the buds of that in Sssss.
It's like that game five times.
Yeah.
S 5 times.
Yep.
Is a good game, actually.
All right, well, we're now just making noises, so let's go ahead and take a break here, and when we come back, we'll get into some news.
Hello, I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play here on WZMO. I just wanted to take a minute to assure our many fans and listeners that my staff and I take our job seriously here at WZMO. We will always strive to bring only the highest quality audio entertainment to you and yours. Who am I kidding? We just grab whatever album's on top of the stack. Join us every Friday at 11 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. for Long Play. Tune in to see what we've come up with this week. Catch us every weekend right here on WZMO.
Hey, we're back. There was no music because we don't do that anymore.
That's right, yes.
Oh, I was wondering what you were doing there for a second.
That's not a portion of the show any longer.
That's right, but you know what is a portion of the show? The news. Oh no, I waited too long. Never mind.
I was going to say, how long can we get away with that comeback line before we have to actually think of something to say when we come back from the break?
Oh, we'll figure something out eventually. But hey, let's talk about some news. So it is this weekend is the E3 video game expo, electronic
Entertainment Expo.
Electronic. E3.
I think that's what it is. Yes, and
E to the third power.
And while next week will be the week where we really talk about everything that gets
Oh yeah,
announced.
because that'll be like when all the stuff gets,
Yeah.
all the deets.
Yeah, they did have a pre-convention kind of show thing.
Not really affiliated with E3
I
itself.
feel like it's more like just kind of like a hype reel, maybe.
It's Geoff Keighley's time to remind everyone how important he is to the video game industry.
I guess, yeah. So what did the old Dorito Pope have to show us this time, pre-E3?
Let's see. They came out, and the first thing they announced was a new Borderlands game that's like a spin-off, where it's Tiny Tina's like D&D game, like from that one DLC, but now it's its own game. So it's like a reimagining of Borderlands in a fantasy setting.
Okay.
With a lot of Tiny Tina, which is good because that's Ashley Birch, and that's a funny character, and she's a good voice actress.
Mm-hmm.
I just not that excited because I don't really care for Gearbox, because I don't care for Randy Pitchford.
For the guy in charge of Gearbox.
Yeah,
yes.
He's kind of a problematic dude.
Allegedly.
Also, he's sitting on the Duke Nukem franchise and just wasting it.
Oh,
I mean, after
Duke Nukem?
Yes.
Duke Nukem, or you mean...
I'm Duke Nuke them.
Anyway,
so other stuff that they announced. Looks like there is a director's cut of Death Stranding.
Yes, apparently Hideo Kojima was just so held back by those bigwigs in charge of Death Stranding.
you mean his own studio?
Yeah. So Kojima went to the director, Kojima, and said, "Hi, me. I didn't put enough into this game. Can I do another?"
Well, we don't know about that, Hideo. I guess we can let you do that.
We'll let it slide this time. But the trailer was kind of cute.
This extremely bloated game that you've already made. Yeah, the trailer was cute. It was just chock-a-block full of Metal Gear references.
Yeah.
Like all the way down. It was all metal. The music sounded like Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm. The way what's his face was Norman Reedus' character was moving around, kind of like reminded me of like when you're standing there in Metal Gear.
Just the big camera sweep through and a bunch of guards patrolling, like
Cardboard box.
Yeah, and they do a cardboard box joke, but poor Sam Porter Bridges doesn't know how to do it. He's not Solid Snake.
Which is funny because he's a postman. You'd think he'd know how to box.
Yeah, you'd think he'd know how to use boxes all kinds of ways.
You would think, but you know. But no, it looks good. I haven't picked up Death Stranding. I think eventually I'll get it on PC. And
I like it for what it is.
Yeah.
It's a very chill, like, walking simulator.
Kinda, yeah.
It's the only
the streams
game
that I've watched of it. It looked like
it's the only game that truly deserves the title of walking simulator.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah, because you can easily just trip and spill all your boxes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this is like for PS5, so it's gonna look better. They're gonna up-res everything. Nobody knows what director's cut really means. Like, what are they gonna put in it?
Like, you know,
they're going to add Raiden.
And Norman Reedus is going to start calling himself Pliskin. You don't get to play him as you don't get to play him anymore.
You don't get to play as Sam Porter Bridges anymore. You can just look on from a distance and think about how cool he is.
Yeah.
Pretend to be asleep.
Yeah. Give him an electric razor you find so he shaves his beard.
Yeah. All right, so what are some of these other games that we have on the list here?
There's a new Metal Slug game, but it's a little different. It's a turn-based isometric tactics game.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Which is an interesting idea and something I didn't know I wanted but desperately do now.
The trailer looks really good. It holds, to the spirit of Metal Slug as far as like the art style and the sound and the music and everything.
Okay, so what is Metal Slug and what is this style? Because we said a lot of. I just realized we said a lot of words, but for people who don't know, what is this?
Metal Slug is a 90s like run and gun style platform game from the arcades.
Yeah.
That has a very cartoony, well animated pixel look. Mm-hmm. Like extremely fluid animation is one of its key marketing points.
Like you pick up weapon power-ups and whatnot, and you shoot bad guys. Kind of like, in the vein of like Contra.
Yeah. It's one of the kind of, I don't want to say stereotypical, but when you think of arcade games, you think of either a racing game, a fighting game, or something like
this.
This. This is almost a beat 'em up with gun instead of punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, with multi-level,
right. Yeah. So what is the new style why is this different?
This is a strategy tactics game where you're moving your characters around on a grid in like a Fire Emblem.
It's almost like a turn-based kind of thing.
It is a turn-based thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Or an XCOM, if you know what that is. That style of game.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is an interesting direction to take the series in.
It's interesting and different, absolutely.
These are my favorite things at E3 is when you get something you didn't know you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you see it and you're like, that looks fun.
Yeah. And the trailer has some delightful animation.
Oh, good.
I've always loved the cast of Metal Slug. They're just a bunch of weird army people. But they're just endearing looking, and it's fun to see them well animated.
Well, cool.
Like 2D animated, not pixel style.
There's a new Evil Dead game coming out.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 4v1 shooter style game.
One person's the bad guy and everybody else is the
Survivors.
Ash kind of person.
Ash and his gang of Ashmen.
Pals. Ash and pals.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the characters from Ash versus the Evil Dead, the
Oh,
show.
yeah, probably, yeah.
So like Lucy Lawless, that's cool.
Hey, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, the 3D model for Ash looks like Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. And I mean, this style of game is very popular right now. What with Dead by Daylight being almost this exact thing.
Especially since Ash did appear in Dead by Daylight.
He is in that game as well. Yeah, that's very true. So, yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I like the idea of asymmetric gameplay.
And
did they ever do that Predator?
They did.
Yeah, it was
Asymmetric
bad.
It was
though,
bad.
apparently.
Oh, that's a bummer because that had the potential to be like really good.
I like an asymmetric game where you can do more than just run away.
Yeah. Yes. You can kind of fight back, or you can do something other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about with Dead by Daylight and the Friday the 13th game, stuff like that. You really can't do much to who the player who is the monster, versus like Evolved, where the other players have weapons and guns, and their job is to hunt you as the big monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I imagine is a lot more difficult to balance. So good luck.
It's almost like video game tag, but in a horror setting.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we have Among Us.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I believe it's pronounced Among Us.
Among Us. Yes.
Yeah, there's a new update coming out. They're adding it's called their 15-player update.
Okay.
So they're adding more players.
Say, what does that mean?
Well, right, as it stands right now, I think you can only have a maximum of...
Only 15 people are allowed to play this update.
That's it. Yes.
I think in the regular game mode, I think it's a maximum of like 7 or 8.
Mhm.
That
So they're
sounds
doubling
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Among Us it's another game that's almost like tag kind of.
Yeah.
You're on like a ship, or you're in a setting.
There's various maps.
and
yeah.
you have to do like various very small tasks, and while that's happening, 2 of the people that are in your party are secret killers, basically,
It's
and
a
they're basically walking around trying to tag you so you'd be out.
It's a social deduction game.
Yeah,
where-
it's a bluffing game.
It's a bluffing,
a lot of
yeah.
bluffing game. Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's a lot of fun.
Because the imposters, they get caught, they get voted out, and they lose. Mm-hmm. The goal of the imposter is to kill everybody, and
not get caught.
And not get caught. And then the other players, once you go into the voting rounds, when somebody finds a body or calls a meeting or something, it's like if anybody's ever played the werewolf card game, kind of like that.
Yeah. And this is in a very cartoony style.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like, we're saying, one player's killing another player. It's not like that. It's very cartoony.
It's very simple.
They're
Yeah.
little bean-shaped spacemen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's spawned a few games now that are like this. Some are better, in my opinion. Others are not.
Sure, but Among Us is the one that ends up on
Really?
Twitch.
Yeah.
Yes, this is also true.
It's the popular one.
It is the popular one.
Yep.
I don't think its popularity has waned that much either. It's still,
Not much.
I mean,
It's still going
It
pretty
depends on who
strong.
you ask. I mean, I don't play it as hard as I used to. I jumped on and tried the new map, and that is ridiculous. I think that's part of the reason why they're adding more players, because that map is huge.
Okay.
It's actually so big when you start a round, you get to choose where you spawn instead of just spawning in the same place all the time.
Interesting.
I
It's
still
huge.
have never played it. I've watched it played a lot of times, but I've still have never played it.
I've played a couple rounds. It's fine.
It's fun.
It's not as much fun when you're playing with a bunch of people that already know the map.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You don't, and you're just kind of wandering around because you end up getting picked off first every time.
Either that,
And that's kind of the way
either
it
that, or
ended up
you
with me.
get called out for being suspicious because
Yeah,
you're
why
just
are
kind of
you-
wandering around.
Why are you in this room? Because I don't know where I am or where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. What is 2 Point Campus?
The people who made 2 Point Hospital, itself a spiritual sequel to Theme Hospital. If you've ever played that game, it's like a hospital tycoon sim, like Theme Park, but it's a hospital.
Okay.
And it has a fun sense of humor and has goofy diseases and is cartoony. It's actually a really solid game. Now they're doing another one called 2 Point Campus, where you're like a school administrator and you build a college campus and then tycoon that.
Interesting.
Which is a good. I've always thought that a school building a tycoon style game would work really well.
Yeah.
I think I've seen like that kind of style before, just not from these guys. Because I know there's Prison Tycoon and all those various games.
There was a time in like the early 2000s where there was like a million.
There were a
Tycoon
million of
games.
them.
Oh yeah.
When Roller Coaster Tycoon got big, everybody tried to get a piece of that pie with their weird like Fish Tycoon or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Train Tycoon.
Yeah. But this is that kind of game, but for a college, and with these people's sense of humor, and with a university setting, it'd be pretty funny, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It'll be a neat game.
Yep.
I'm waiting for all the Animal House references.
Yeah.
There's got to be at least a couple for sure.
2 Point Hospital, I think, is on Game Pass, so if you want to check it out, that's an easy way to do
cool.
it, and I would recommend it.
Oh, that reminds me. I just saw something where Microsoft's going to allow Game Pass to work through phones.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the xCloud stuff where you can stream directly to your devices, so it's truly going to be like a game, Netflix for games, where you just hit a button and you're playing a game.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just hope the latency isn't too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always the big deal.
Because that was one
Yeah.
of my big issues with PlayStation Now was sometimes you get to going and it does real well, and other times it just chug.
Or it just starts looking real nasty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The last thing we have for the Games Fest kickoff thing is Elden Ring. They finally showed something about this game that, for the longest time, I didn't think actually existed.
Oh yeah, I figured they would just never, because George R.L. Tolkien's is attached to it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's his name, right? No, it's George R.R. Martin is attached to it, so I figured it'd just never get finished.
Sure.
Like you do.
Yeah.
But it's a game by him and the Dark Souls people from Software. Mm-hmm. And it very much looks like one of those.
It's another medieval
game where you die a lot.
Yeah, a dark medieval game.
Yep. Very,
this one
very
had a
difficult.
horse.
Hey,
This one
horse.
has a horse in the trailer.
There we go. There we go.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm just, as much as you think that would be my thing, I'm not that excited about it.
I don't care about Dark Souls.
I don't like the Souls games. They are not fun to me.
The idea of a game where you just constantly throw yourself at a wall over and over and over until you get through it. You're like it's the definition of brute forcing your way through a game, because the game, like the Dark Souls games, are so incredibly difficult on purpose that you're expected to die over and over and over again.
Yeah, and then like the whole thing about those games is learning the tells of your enemies and stuff, so you just dodge around.
And I get frustrated to the point where I just don't have the patience to do that.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not fun to me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a challenging game.
Sure, but there's a difference between challenging and spending an entire session trying to get through one corridor, and you don't do it, and you end up not having anything to show for what you've done.
I think I'd get totally roasted for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like good game design. I think a well-designed game has a good difficulty curve.
Yes.
And lets you learn the mechanics of the game gradually as you play, and not just slam you over the head immediately by the first group of 3 skeletons that have you die 100 times.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely
that was
agree.
like my thing with like the first Dark Souls game is like, I made it through like the first kind of couple areas or whatever, because you're just fighting skeletons and whatnot, get past the first boss, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting this. And then you get into a room full of ghosts, and you can't fight them because your weapons pass right through them, but they don't tell you that, oh, you're supposed to coat your weapons in this weird potion that you picked up 2 rooms ago that they didn't really describe what it is.
Yeah, I hope you read 30 item descriptions so you can understand the deep lore.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
And then you run away from them, and you think you're, okay, I'm safe for a minute while you heal up. No, they come up, they rise up through the floor, come at you. I'm like, I hate this game.
Yeah. All right, so some other stuff that happened this past week or so.
This is probably because we're old.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably we're just old men.
Yeah, yeah. So what was the Sonic Central? Is that that was like a bunch of Sonic news,
yeah,
right?
this was from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
There was a Sonic themed like announcement thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was a Nintendo Direct, but for Sonic only. And there's just mostly a bunch of trash. I mean,
Well, Sonic.
yeah. I mean, that's rude to say. A lot of people really like Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, I love Sonic the Hedgehog, but the good games are few and far between anymore.
Sonic's gonna show up in a lot of other games
And
as a
that's-
cameo.
That's fine.
Including
At this
the
point.
Olympics one.
Again?
The serious Olympics game, there is a Sonic costume that looks like a man in a Sonic mascot suit.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's pretty funny looking.
Fantastic. Can we put Usain Bolt
Yeah.
in a Sonic costume?
Maybe. I don't know
I think
how
that's
it works.
cheating. I hope it looks as bad as when you find the Mega Man costume in Dead Rising.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's some kind of crossover thing in the new Judgment game that's coming out.
What? What is that?
Judgment is a Yakuza spinoff where you're a detective.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then, yeah,
I mean, they did announce a new Sonic game.
a remaster of Sonic Colors.
Yeah, sorta. Yeah.
And a new 2 animated projects, one of which is a Sonic Colors themed cartoon that's going to have 2 episodes for the internet, I guess.
Yeah. Which is a weird
Yeah.
model.
And the other one is by the Ben 10 Man of Action.
Man of Action. Yeah.
Called Sonic Prime, and I don't know, maybe that'll be good. I don't know.
I typically like the Man of Action stuff fine. Their animation is pretty clean. I think it'll work. The action bits of Ben 10, it's usually pretty well done. It's going to come down to the writing.
If they hired the Sonic Boom people,
I was just
then
thinking
it'd be
that
pretty good.
It'd be great.
yeah, the writing.
So
the
many
writing-
fourth wall breaks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the reference, the self reference. In Sonic Boom.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
find like a supercut of all the good jokes in Sonic Boom on YouTube and watch that, and you'll get everything you need to get out of that show.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it's mostly Knuckles.
Most of it's Knuckles, and there was one episode where a Sonic superfan forced Sonic to read his fan fiction.
Yeah.
And that was a real good jab at all the Sonic fans online and stuff. It was great. Super good.
And they had one more thing at the end,
Okay.
and it was bizarre and confusing. It was a CG animated trailer of Sonic running in a forest, and then he runs in a bunch of loops and draws a symbol that doesn't make sense to anyone, and then leaves. And then they're like, "We're doing a new Sonic game."
Oh, Sonic 06 remastered.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, and they didn't like elaborate any further than that.
Probably because they don't know.
Yeah. There was later a press release came out and said it's called Sonic Rangers.
Okay.
And that's all we know.
Okay. Are they going to morph? Does Sonic get a giant robot?
Yeah.
That would be
Hey,
awesome if
hey.
Sonic got a giant robot.
There are enough characters of multicolored faceting in the Sonic cast.
That's
they
true.
could
That's
be
very
a
true.
Sonic Sentai style team.
They couldn't call it Sonic Rangers, though. They would
couldn't.
get sued.
They would have to call it Saban's Sonic Rangers.
No, Hasbro's Sonic Rangers.
Hasbro's Saban's Sonic Rangers.
Saban doesn't own it though anymore.
Saban's name is still on a lot
That
of
is
Power Ranger
dumb.
stuff. It's Saban's Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, even though Hasbro owns it.
Vomit.
Yeah.
As much as I love Power Rangers and how huge of a part of like my childhood was.
Also, you can thank him for the X-Men animated show as well.
You can.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Yep.
about that. God damn it.
And about a half dozen theme songs for animated series, because he was a musical composer before
Yep.
becoming owning his own studio.
Yeah, it
Well,
sucks,
yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah.
The rumor for this Sonic game, though, is that it's an open world Sonic game, which
Oh.
No.
That doesn't work. The whole point of Sonic is speedrunning courses.
Sonic the Hedgehog, Breath of the Wild.
yeah, that's probably what it's
Breath of
gonna
the
be.
Hedgehog.
Breath of the Hog. Breath of the Werehog.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
That was the other thing on the Summer Games Fest kickoff. They had a symphonic orchestra performance of music from Sonic Unleashed.
Why?
I don't know. It's so bizarre. They're not remaking that game. That's not a good game.
It's not.
It's not a good time in Sonic's life to remind us of.
That time he turned into a werewolf.
Yeah.
That was not good.
What was that one where he was like a knight or something?
Sonic and the Black Knight.
Yeah.
Also a bad game.
Yeah, also not good.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow with a gun.
It's funny. At the beginning of the Sonic Central thing, they said ratings for games go from E to M because they mentioned the Yakuza game, and that's M-rated.
that's M-rated.
But people actually got excited because they thought it meant they were going to make another Shadow the Hedgehog, which means
Was Shadow M-rated?
it was teen. I
It
think
was teen,
It had
but it
been
could have.
teen.
but it wanted if it came out today, it would be M.
It'd be M. Yeah. Yeah.
But that means that people want another Shadow the Hedgehog, which is bizarre to me.
That makes no sense to me. Yeah. People don't want a Shadow the Hedgehog game. They just want the idea of a Shadow the Hedgehog game.
Yeah.
All right, so we actually have a couple of trailers for various things that we watched as well. First up is the Ryan Reynolds starring Free Guy, which is a good transition between video games and movies because this is a movie about a video game character.
Yeah, he's a NPC like nothing character in a video game that becomes self-aware.
Basically,
is the
yeah,
concept.
becomes self-aware, and Taika Waititi's in it in a small role, and it looks like the Lego Movie.
Yeah, the second time I saw, well, I half paid attention the first time I saw it, but partway through the trailer, I'm just like, this is the Lego Movie.
Yeah, this is the plot of the Lego Movie, basically.
Yeah, without the MacGuffin piece.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll probably be a MacGuffin piece.
Oh, sure. I'm sure there is.
Oh, by the way, Shadow the Hedgehog was rated E10+.
Oh, well, there you go.
That seems way too light for a game where you can kill human beings with a gun.
But was it laser or was it bullet?
I don't remember.
It very well could have been bullet.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's surprising then. If it were laser, I would say, okay, E10, because maybe it's a sleepy time laser.
You know, one of those lasers that hit you and get real tired.
You just fall right over asleep. Just conk right out. It's the melatonin gun.
Yeah. Maybe some like red mist comes out of you, but it's not blood.
It's marinara.
Yeah.
It's a laser that fills you full of good pizza energy, and you just want to take a nap.
I'd take that laser
I
about
would
now.
every day of the week. I would take that laser.
I'm always packing.
My pizza gun. Anyway, Free Guy. It looks.
I would take that laser. Is the title of this episode.
Yeah, there we go. Free Guy looks good, but it does look like a cross between the Lego Movie and They Live, oddly enough.
It literally has that plot line where there's, I am the goofy special man that can only save the day, even though there's a more competent female character.
That's
here.
right there.
That's literally right here.
Yeah. Other trailers, they had one for the new Masters of the Universe animated. Is it a series or a movie? I forget.
It's a series.
It's a series.
It's a limited series.
Yeah, that is helmed by Kevin Smith, which initially made me a little nervous. But after watching this trailer, I'm in.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was worried about it being too grimdark and dumb, but it looked colorful and dumb, so I'm in.
Yep. I mean, it's animated by the same studio who does the Castlevania stuff, so it looks just like that.
It looks really good,
but
they didn't change any of the designs. They didn't try to make He-Man look cool. He still looks like a doofus,
and he has like a super Chad voice, and I'm super about it.
Oh yeah, and Mark Hamill
Skeletor
is doing a pretty good job as
it's not
Skeletor.
bad. I mean, I had some critiques while we were watching the trailer, but
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just
personal preference.
But yeah. I mean, it's Mark Hamill. He can do voice, but it's mostly just his voice.
He-Man is a himbo. That's what He-Man is.
He is a himbo.
Yep.
But I mean, it's colorful. The fact that He-Man had a straight up Sailor Moon style transformation sequence,
And that's
with
great.
bright colors and everything.
It was sparkly and like it would look on the show. Like,
Yeah, it was super good.
I mean,
Yeah.
when they said they were going to take cues from the '80s series, and the fact that they play "I Need a Hero" as the song for the trailer.
They took the cheese.
Oh,
Yeah.
They straight up, it was a whole block of cheese.
So I'm definitely excited for it. Now, my expectations were rock bottom, and I've been delighted and surprised.
Yep. And the last trailer we have, and this is the last thing we're going to have to talk about before we wrap up, it's kind of the opposite of how we felt about Masters of the Universe. There's a new trailer for Space Jam.
And it's deflated my enthusiasm for the film.
Yeah, there were a lot of, well, the way you put it, Cody, there were a lot of non-jokes in it. There's a lot of, oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah, or that's gotta hurt. Like the stuff you put in to pad your script until you can think of something actually funny to put in.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to watch it because it's Space Jam, because, of course, Space Jam.
The first trailer looked bad, but in a fun way. This just looks bad.
Well, it looks more kidified. It looks more juvenile in general.
Which, like, to be fair, the original Space Jam is pretty bad, too.
It's in retrospect, it is pretty rotten. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not as excited. I think the shine has come off of the Space Jam.
The trailer just sucked all the air out of the room.
It kind of did. Yeah.
And it's weird because even though they're calling it Space Jam 2, it has no real connection to the original Space Jam because they don't seem to be the same tunes.
No,
from the original Space Jam.
This is Looney Tune character that were in internet.
Yeah.
So they don't go to the Toon World like
it's like the
Michael Jordan
through a golf hole.
No, they go to internet and there are digital versions of the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
And also King Kong
and the Iron Giant
and I'm pretty sure Space Ghost was in that.
Yeah, all
crowd
your
scene.
Hanna-Barbera pals are there.
Which is weird because this is a Warner Brothers route.
Well, they own them both.
Oh,
now.
that's right, they do. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because they own DC, and DC had a bunch of Hanna-Barbera stuff.
I wish somebody would do something with Hanna-Barbera characters that was good.
Same here.
Didn't they do that Scoop thing?
Yeah, that was pretty good, honestly. I enjoyed it. Although I get a lot of joy out of just seeing Hanna-Barbera characters because I'm a cartoon nerd.
The last thing that I really liked with the Hanna-Barbera characters, they did the I forget what the comic was called.
Wacky Wasteland?
No,
Future Quest?
Yeah, Future Quest. They used all of their old 60s action cartoons. Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, Birdman, Herculoids, Mytor was in there. Yeah. Frankenstein Jr.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they did an action comic.
Well, it's kind of funny,
and it was really, really well done.
Like I was going through my comics a couple weeks ago, and like I started separating them out. Like, man, I forgot how much of these I bought.
Oh yeah, well they look beautiful. Doc Shaner did the art for all of it, and it looks like Alex Toth art. It's phenomenal. Oh yeah, and the best part is the story makes sense. The story makes sense. They made Mytor into a Shazam type character. It's a kid it's a modern day kid who finds the Mytor Club from way back when and becomes a modern version of
that's cool.
of adult Mytor.
Mytor was a judge on Harvey Birdman.
He
correct?
was.
Yeah, for a short time before it was pretty much all Mintalk.
Because Mintalk the Mind Taker.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, speaking of which, I've watched all of Bird Girl because there's only 6 of them for some reason.
Okay.
And it's very good.
Good.
It's a lot different than Harvey. There's no Hanna-Barbera characters.
Oh, there aren't?
Kind of
lame.
Yeah, but it's still a good show in spite of that.
But there's no Peter Potamus asking if you got that thing I sent you?
No. The closest is there's a character named Dog with Bucket Hat, who is a dog who wears a bucket hat and is on the board of directors of 7 and 7.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, so Philkin 7's not in anymore?
No, he's dead.
He died.
Oh.
That's the whole conceit of the show is that he died and Bird Girl has to become the CEO of 7 and 7 and balance being a superhero with being a CEO of this huge corporation.
Yeah. Do they at least reference Harvey Birdman at all?
No, they didn't mention Harvey at all.
Really? Interesting.
Which is weird considering she's Bird Girl, but...
Well, yeah. And she's playing basically the same manic energy from Birdman.
Which is fun. It's fun to see a female lead be that kind of manic, like...
Yeah.
Well, she was kind of weird in Harvey Birdman.
Yeah,
she was like,
that's it.
She's still the same character from Harvey Birdman.
It's just different setting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's a Mintalk's daughter is a character.
Oh, cool. All right.
Meredith the Mind Taker.
Nice. Nice.
Whatever happened to Harvey Birdman, Attorney General?
It came out.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one. It was a special.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a one-time thing.
Oh.
Yep.
I've watched a little bit of it. I haven't actually sat down to the whole thing, but Peter Potamus is an Alex Jones character, which is very
Yeah.
funny.
All right, well, hey, we've actually hit time, so we should probably go ahead and wrap things up. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Nerd Overload Now.
You can send us an email, staff@nerdoverload.com, with any questions, concerns, pending fan fiction that you wrote about us. Or give us a call on the Nerd Overload hotline, 586-372-8020. Leave a message and we might play it on the show.
I've been missing that. I've been missing the yell. You can also find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and more. And lastly, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
And as far as your fan fictions go, I'm 6'4" and jacked.
Peace out, everybody.